Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. Coming up, I'm learning about clay shooting cartridges with probably the best shot in the world, George Digweed.
Oh.
We're out with sporting chef Mark Gilchrist putting the rough into rough shooting, and when I say rough, I mean rougher than a badger without Andrex. And it's the start of our new series on rifle shooting with Keith Poyser of training outfit Bangs, Bucks and Bullseyes. We're calling it Ballistic Tips.
Okay, firing.
First, the fox hunting season is properly underway. The League Against Cruel Sports has successfully placed stories in some of the newspapers suggesting that there aren't enough MPs to overturn the hunting ban. The League says it canvassed 620 MPs and found that it will be able to stop repeal of the ban in Westminster by 66 votes. It also claims that more than 150 people have been convicted under the hunting ban, though it fails to mention that most of those were for hare coursing on land without permission, which was already illegal before the ban. Furthermore, points out the Countryside Alliance, due to the new popularity of hunting, that equates to one prosecution for every 32,500 hunting days. We joined the Old Surrey, Burstow and West Kent hunt for its opening meet. With lots of pomp and ever stronger support, it is typical of opening meets up and down the country. Views about repeal are as strident as ever.
In a whole, the supporters in this area are actually all backing the hunting and rallying round supporting it. Hopefully we get a repeal, but we don't know.
As for the hunting, the master is pleased with the way the day is going.
Hopefully this will be the last season that we're under the ban, and we should carry on. We've obviously been hunting within the law for the last few years. We have our runner out today, laying a scent. So yeah, it's going very, very well. But we're trying to keep hounds hunting as near and as natural as possible. So when the ban is lifted, then they're all there ready to go as they normally would do. You can see all our hounds out at the moment. So it's at the moment a very, very good season.
Whether prompted or not by the League Against Cruel Sports, many people in the hunting world hold the opinion that we do not need to repeal the ban.
In a funny sort of way, I'm thinking if it ain't more broken than it is, maybe don't fix it. Just let sleeping dogs lie, and we're all having a lot of fun as it is at the moment, and it could be a lot worse.
However, is it fair to ask hunt staff to face possible court convictions as part of their daily work, whatever we may think of the ban?
You know, letting sleeping dogs lie, it just get brushed under the carpet. But I think, you know, we ought to put pressure on and do what's right for the countryside.
There's a huge weight of support for fox hunting. As for the stories in the newspapers, well, into every repeal a little rain must fall, but it does nothing to dampen the spirits of hunt supporters up and down the UK. They provided tens of thousands of canvassers for pro-hunting MPs at the last election. As the then Rural Affairs Minister Alan Michael said, if people wish to continue their opposition to legislation, they have the option of the ballot box through which to express their views. For hunting enthusiasts such as this, it's payback time. Now it's over to Keith Poyser of Bangs, Bucks and Bullseyes to learn how to shoot at long range.
I break the courses down that we do at Bangs, Bucks and Bullseyes into three elements, whatever range we're shooting, whether long range, medium range or field standard stalking ranges. And those three elements are foundation technique around breathing, trigger, stock weld, bone support and follow through, and then around technique, so positional technique around kneeling, sitting, standing, prone, simulated high seat, the sort of positions that you'll use in the field. And then data, the third element, is all around understanding your bullet drop and drift at given distances for given environmental factors, and knowing how to adjust your sights for those factors and get first round hits, first round shot 1, first round shot 2, which are the key shots in the field. that you need. So those three factors: foundation, position, and data. In foundation, in a nutshell, very briefly, foundation is concerned about trigger control. So not jerking the trigger but pulling through the trigger for crisp release of the shot and staying still through the shot. Follow through, which is all about counting to 2 before you move your head, reload, do anything at all. Trying to watch the shot onto the target. Bone support is about making sure your positional technique is right in that you're not using muscles to hold yourself in position which start to fatigue and shake, so reducing shake in your positions, whatever they are. And stock weld, which is all about having the right head position welded to the rifle stock that doesn't change, that repeats time and time again, that enables you to get consistency in your shooting. And one way to test this is to take some shots and have a friend load for you and put the occasional blank in your rifle. And I bet in 90% of cases what will happen when you pull the trigger is you'll anticipate the shot and you will move despite the shot not occurring because you've got an empty shell in your rifle. Okay? And that's what we're trying to iron out here. Foundation is all about that. What I'm going to talk through as I'm taking this shot is simply foundation again. So what have I got here that's going to ensure that I'm making an accurate shot regardless of the grass? That is my breathing, when I stop talking, will be smooth in and out, and I will pause on my natural respiratory pause, which is for me on the out breath, and that's when I shoot. I hold on the out. If I notice my breathing's gone out, I reset my breathing by breathing again, relaxing, counting to 4 on the in-breath, counting to 4 before I exhale, exhaling on 4 and breathing in on 4. And that tends to lower your pulse rate and get your breathing back on track. Breathing. Then my trigger. On my trigger, these 3 fingers are pulling the rifle into my shoulder, and my shoulder's taking up the slack in the bipod. I'm pushing forward slightly. But I'm then pulling backwards with this, but finger and thumb are relaxed. And when I pull the trigger, I will be pulling backwards without thinking about the shot release per se. I will just be pulling. And the shot release is incidental. I don't want to anticipate it. I don't want to jerk it. I just want to pull through the trigger and it goes off when it goes off. And I don't want to move or react to that shot. I want to stay stationary, not move for at least 2. So that's shot, that's trigger, and that's follow through. Then stock weld. I want to keep my face in the same place each and every shot as much as I can. I want a relaxed face where possible. I don't want to tense to get my face in the right position. Relaxed face. And if that means putting some foam on your rifle stock, that's what you do for your prone position. So nice and relaxed. So what we're doing is we're loading. We've all got ear protection on here and grass in the way. I can only see a headshot on this row. I don't advocate headshots, but that's all I can see with the grass in the way. So that's what I'm doing to check my zero. Okay, firing. Okay, there we go. And as you saw, I didn't move until the shot was off and I'd counted to 2. And I stayed still through the shot and pulled through the trigger and didn't anticipate and didn't flinch. Those are the foundations.
From the precision of Keith Poyser to roughing it with a sporting chef.
Can you get the one? Can you shoot that one?
Eat big at breakfast and keep going all day. Well, that's the plan. Game chef Mark Gilchrist has taken charge of Paddy's kitchen, and there's soon plenty of calories on the table and plenty of bets being made.
Over mine, no partridge at all. Over here, no hares, but otherwise ground game as long as it's safe. Yeah. And yeah, anything, vermin, pheasants, duck. Yeah. And we'll do that. We'll walk that duck.
Do you have any parakeets? I've never shot a parakeet.
Will, Hugo, Paddy and Mark are friends who enjoy a bit of rough and are lucky enough to have plenty of places to look for it. They're visiting a few different farms in the area today, and there is the potential for delivering an interesting bag. But not too interesting. The unpredictability is one of the beauties of this type of day.
I think one of the wondrous things about rough shooting is that, you know, whether you shoot one bird or whether you shoot 20, I think it's the whole aspect of being out and you've actually really got to work. For instance, you know, driven days are great fun, but technically you turn up, draw a peg and stand in line, whereas rough shooting, really you're getting in amongst it. You know, you're out there with, well, in nature, what have you, and then you're really yeah, no, it's great actually, really great fun.
First up is a walk around and through an orchard.
We'll jump over the gate there and walk down, and then you two basically go through that way, and then we've covered both sides of the hedge, okay? Good, right, do that.
Paddy is the first to throw his hat into the ring. After some rough stuff produces nothing, the boys plan an assault on a pond.
Basically, you want one person on the ditch line. I'd say one person out here.
One person on the pylon, and then you go round.
Most likely they're going to fly out this side.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
What they normally
so
do.
we want one person straight on the pylon.
And again!
It doesn't go quite to plan, but at least Hugo is now off the starting blocks. Mark and Will are yet to get going.
Well, I did see it, but it was reloading at the time. Never would I have thought that, you know, people that say that 3-shot autos pheasant is too many shots are clearly wrong.
Clearly.
I need a 4-shot. I could have two misses out there. And yeah, ridiculous.
Time for a change of scenery, and it looks promising. Paddy walks the margins and sends Tilly in for a good result. Hugo is looking for a brace, and Twinkletoes Hall does well.
That was quite nice footwork there, wasn't it?
Location 3, and there's an early pigeon, but the prize is shared. Paddy gets another pheasant and Mark finally gets his eye in. For a day like today, the bag isn't looking too shameful, but the lads are keen to move on to some waterways half an hour away. There's the promise of wildfowling, but we're going to have to work for it. We might be cunning, but our presence hasn't escaped the birds. About 60 Canada geese know something is up.
Someone's going to get round the geese and try and drive them this way. And in theory they'll come over the top of us, but they don't look like very settled geese to me. I think they may have seen us because there's not a lot of cover down this hedgerow, or down this dike. But we've got, I think, a 1 in 10 chance of someone getting a shot, which is better than nothing, obviously. But it's not a good chance. I mean, the wind is blowing this way, so if they do come off over us, they probably won't get very high because they don't have the purchase in the wind, so they'll be low and fast. And if you're ever doing this at home, the trick to shooting Canadas is kill the first one a long way in front, because if you let them get on top of you, you never get a good enough swing on them. And Canada geese go a lot faster than they look.
Will and Paddy move in from the other side of the field and the geese take flight. They fly, but turn, and it looks like there's no chance.
I think that was optimistic shooting on everyone's part.
However, Paddy does get within range, and there are some other successes.
Good girl. Come on. Dead.
Good girl. Next on the menu is another pond, but despite the tactical approach, there's no one at home except a squirrel, and, thank goodness, it's not in a good way.
Because we've got sheep down on the marsh, it's caught hold of some sheep will run its leg, and obviously it got caught up in a fence, and I'm guessing it's gnawed straight through its leg to get away. Not really very pleasant thing to see, really.
To mix it up even more, we turn our attention to upping the species list. Foxes are first, and although we spot one, it's not on our land. Dusk is approaching, so time to head back to the water for a last hurrah.
The real tip for shooting teal, certainly on drainage ditches like this, and especially out on the marshes, is don't let them get too close, because if they're going so quickly, you want to have your first shot 50 yards in front of you, straight at one, and kill it in front of you, because by the time it gets to you, it'll only be 40 yards away. By the time the pellets hit it, then they'll all flare. Another common mistake, you don't shoot them when they're flaring, wait till they've got to the top, then have your next 2 shots. Because shooting them rising, you've got to be so far in front of them you're never going to get them. And if you wait until they get to the top and stop, they're a very, very easy shot. You should be able to go plonk plonk and get the next two. And that way you'll get 3 every time. But trying to shoot them as they go past you, you're never going to do it.
It's not a total waste of time, but it's time to call it a day. The blood sugar levels have been plummeting since breakfast, and so have the chances of anyone parting with any cash. No one had any with them anyway. They'd spent it all on cartridges. Now, I am traditionally not one to think too much about cartridges. Until, that is, I meet George Digweed, who takes his shooting extraordinarily seriously. In 2010, he won his 17th World Championship in Italy.
For me, a phenomenal achievement personally, and I don't think it gets much better than the way I shot over there and the atmosphere that was created. It was a proper old style shoot. It was one of those shoots where everybody was at, and so I've beaten the best of the best, and to do that was, a crowning glory really.
5:30.
Got to be 100% confident in your equipment when you walk onto that stand. You have to be reliant on your, the tools of your trade. So your gun and your cartridges are effectively your arms and legs. I'm convinced that over the years, a huge amount of my success is down to the cartridges because of the reliability and the confidence they give me.
George is a new convert to steel, and he has been helping Gameball's team develop its steel clay loads. The budget Super Steel, the popular Blue Diamond, George's own favourite the White Gold, and the high-performing Black Gold.
It's without question the best alternative to lead, performance-wise and price-wise. I'm a great believer in you have to try something, and we went to a local shooting range and actually tried the loads on targets of all ranges, so close targets, long targets off the tower, and I have to tell you I was seriously impressed. You get a huge amount more pellets in the cartridge because the density is not as great as lead. You probably get about 30% more pellets. Ballistically, it was fantastic, and they still broke targets at range. So, at the end of the day, what more can you ask for? The other thing about it is that they're very low recoil, so they're nice and soft to shoot, and and good fun to shoot. Well, the Super Steel is definitely the lowest priced cartridge. So you've got pricing structure wise, if you're looking for a very affordable cartridge with low recoil, that would be my reason for using that. Blue Diamond is without question their biggest selling mid-range shell. It's got the Gordon recoil system in it, and the Gordon recoil system, just to explain it, is in a plastic wad you've got a crush zone, which is, as they load it into a cartridge, the bottom piece is a crush zone which crushes as the shot goes off, and effectively the Gordon recoil system is a crush zone within the cap of the cartridge. So it's basically a double recoil buffer, and it's the cartridge that reduces the recoil before it gets to the gun. There's a lot of these recoil pad systems and recoil reduction systems around at the moment. You could almost get to the stage where if you're using Gordon system cartridges and a recoil reduction, then the gun's almost shooting an over and under would almost shoot like a semi-auto. The cartridge is finished off with diamond shot, which is a highly polished hard shot and gives a good consistent even pattern.
George's favourite cartridge is the White Gold.
Gameball and I have spoken about it at length over a long period of time, as to where which direction they want me to go and I want to go, and I'm a great believer that if it's not broke, why mend it? So I'm very confident with the cartridge. I know exactly where to put it in my own mind, whether that's right or wrong. 99 times out of 100. When you look at a cartridge, it's just a plain bog standard shell. but it does the job, and it's a smooth cartridge. There's no recoil. It gets to, you know, what I want to do very quickly in a smooth, consistent way. It gives a beautiful pattern. You know, when you break a target and you're in the middle of it, there is just nothing left. And I'm confident with it, and all the time I, you know, continue to say that, then, you know, unless the powers that be put me in handcuffs and tell me any different, I shall still remain using it.
For clay shooting at more extreme ranges, George will drop his beloved white gold cartridges in favour of Game Ball's black gold.
The Gordon system does reduce the recoil, but you're pushing it out at 1,500 feet per second. And I use that in an extreme situation with a big pellet to get the pellets there quickly. Although you have a 1,500 feet per second push, it reduces it down because you've got the Gordon system in it. So it's a lower recoil cartridge than a lot of the other 1,500 feet per second cartridges on the market. Still using diamond shot, and it just uses an F2 powder that's slightly quicker as well. So that gives it an initial speed. I'm not a scoreboard watcher, so you know, for 4 days I never looked at the scoreboard, and you know roughly how you're shooting and where you should be lying, sort of. If you shoot 93 out the first 100, you think, oh, probably 2 off the pace, or, you know, it's quite tough, I'm there or thereabouts. Or you shoot 96 and you think, oh, I must be quite well up there. Or 88, you know, I've got to get my arse in gear. But to shoot the first 100 straight put me in new territory, because I knew I'd have to be leading. And it did cause a couple of 3 sleepless nights, I can tell you. It was uncharted territory, and I hadn't been there before. I couldn't really get my head around it, and it was certainly a different experience. And I think that to come through that and still do it at the end, you know, made it's probably why I'm sitting here now saying that I felt the achievement was all the more memorable.
There is a reason Game Ball can keep down the cost of lead-free cartridges. They've been making them for years, as Game Ball's Paul James explains.
Well, Game Ball's been fiddling with steel for about 25 years now, with the Scandinavian markets going lead-free. 80% of the Scandinavian markets now are lead-free, so we do a lot of export business in those areas. So it's when we're introducing into the UK, it's really a natural progression. It's 20 to 30% cheaper than lead at the moment, so that's where the shooters are seeing the savings.
Oh. Well, we're back next week. This has been Fieldsports Britain. Still amazed that anyone doesn't enjoy hunting.